Hey everybody, it's Friday and this is the Life Embracing channel, and this week we've been talking about how to deal with eating disorder urges, and the girls have come up with some really fantastic ideas so far and I agree with all of them. Eating disorder urges can be really hard to combat, and they certainly have been for me over the years, and I still get them, but I think that now with some of the things that I've put in place for myself I can handle them a little bit better. And one of those things for me was being able to identify what my triggers were, so what sorts of things were going to trigger me to slip back into some of those eating disorder behaviours. And one of my biggest triggers is stress. And the next thing, once I figured out what those triggers were, was to be able to put some kind of crisis plan or just some plan into place, so that when I started to feel that I was being triggered, that I could access this plan and what I was going to do. There's things for me like writing or doing art or spending time at the beach or being out in nature. There's things like that really help me, but the hard part for me when I'm trying to combat these urges is that sometimes those things don't work. Like I get in quite a funk, and in a lot of my videos I've always talked about that sometimes anorexia seems 90% of who I am, and that little 10% voice, that inner voice that wants life, seems so much smaller compared to anorexia at times. So when sometimes I'm struggling with the urges, it's really difficult and hard to try and remember to actually do those things, like to go to the park or write in my journal or be creative or go to the beach. It's hard to sometimes pull yourself out of that. What I've done most recently is get some of my friends and colleagues involved, especially with my heart condition now. Like I don't have any leeway, like I can't have any setbacks or slip-ups. It'd be playing Russian roulette with my life, really. And so that I know that when I'm in my eating disorder and when I'm stressed, one of the biggest things that I tend to do is isolate myself from my friends. And so what I did is that I see somebody from the eating awareness team here in Christchurch, and I also have a friend and colleague that has been a really great support to me also. And I've allowed those people within my life that support me the most I've allowed them to phone each other or call my doctor if they feel that I'm slipping up or having a setback with my eating disorder, that they can talk to each other and intervene and challenge me and speak to me about that, and basically have given them permission to do whatever it is that they need to do to allow me to come right again, which was really hard for me to do that. And at times when I am in my eating disorder, I can sometimes regret that decision, but it's been helpful and it's been good because they're constantly phoning me up or emailing me and checking in and seeing how I'm going, and I promised them that I would be honest and answer honestly. You know, if I'm doing good, then I'll say I'm good, but if I'm struggling, then I can be honest with them and say, hey, I'm not doing so well. And that's challenging also. So I think in combating eating disorder urges, it's really good to be able to have a plan in place, to know what your triggers are and what sets you off, and 2 is just to have a plan in place, and definitely have the support around you from colleagues or from friends or from family. Let them know what it is that you need, what type of support that you need, and even if it looks as though that you don't need support and that you're doing fine, one thing with eating disorders, and especially for myself, is that we can put on a front, we can put on many masks and pretend that we're okay to the world, and so even if it appears that you're looking fine, that they are just constantly asking how you're doing and showing you that care and support. So a plan is definitely good to have. I really liked some of Lucy's ideas around the black and white thinking, in that take it one step at a time. Like if you don't have breakfast, don't kind of allow that to affect your whole day. Think, okay, so that was breakfast and now it's lunchtime and I can try again, or I can do much better. So I really love that idea, and acknowledging some of the smaller things that you're doing. Every time that you don't listen to your eating disorder, acknowledge yourself for those small things, because as Lucy said, they eventually accumulate and there becomes a lot of them. Also for me, it's just reminding myself that I'm deserving of support and care and love and nourishment within my life, and anything that I can do to remind myself of those things helps as well. I did pick up a list of things from my counsellor this week. There was a whole A4 sheet of things that people can do when they're having ED urges, and it's things like being creative, or painting, or having a bubble bath, or going to the beach, or being out in nature, or going for a gentle walk, or singing or dancing. There was a whole great big list of stuff, and I guess it's about sitting down for yourself and writing out your own list of things that bring peace and comfort and self-care into your life, and then from that putting a plan in place of things you can do when you've identified what the ED triggers are, and then sharing that list, sharing those things with your friends or your colleagues or your family or anybody that is around to support you, sharing that list with them and your plan with them, so they too can support you, because the more support you get, the less isolated you become, and the more that contains and holds the eating disorder at bay or in place. Yeah. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed all of the videos this week. I will look forward to catching up with you all again next week. In the meantime, take care.